Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown with Anissa, my sweetheart.
Hello.
We're going to do our review of Wrestling Open, our first Wrestling Open that we went to. And I think it's pretty safe to say it was a very exciting and action packed show.
That's true.
It was.
At the White Eagle.
At the
in
White
Worcester.
Eagle in Worcester. It's one of our closer shows that we have gone to.
Right.
And the venue itself inside is really
Big.
it's wide open.
It's a lot bigger than you'd think.
I was interested in seeing how they were going to get a ring inside an upstairs of a venue like that, and they did it. And plenty of room. And if you're interested in Wrestling Open or their sister promotion, which is Beyond, check it out on IWTV. They put out their shows once a week, and they've actually, with Wrestling Open, when they first started it, there was not really any storylines. It was just straight up matches, and you didn't know who your match was gonna be. And now they've got some storylines going, and we saw some pretty good storylines going. That's for sure.
And boy, the crowd was on fire.
Yeah, the crowd was really into this show. We're gonna start out where we usually do. We're gonna give our shout outs to the ring announcer, which is usually Rich Palladino, but due to family issues, he was not able to be there. So
Our condolences.
he was replaced by Samla Turner, who she did an amazing job. She usually does backstage interviews for them, and she does some different commentary. But tonight she was ring announcing, and she did a really good job.
Bless her in those heels.
I know I couldn't do it. And our referees, we had Ref Bill. Bill Thompson's one of our guys. He told us so. Ref Bill is a good dude.
Very nice man.
To most people. Maybe not Don Kincaid's shins, but to most people he's good.
And we'll leave it at that.
And then there was Ref Travis and Ref Scott. We did our best to get everybody's names. A lot of the people at this show were new to us, so it was fun being in a new environment. It's like, all right, now we get to learn some new wrestlers, get to learn some new people, and
Right.
apparently one of the camera people was somebody that's not so new to us, and she's usually a referee, and that's Ref Gina. She was one of the camera people, operators. They also have a commentary team. Again, if you watch it on IWTV, you get the full commentary. And that was Paul Crockett. Got to meet him at the end of the show. Really nice guy. And we're fans of his commentary, so it was kind of cool to meet him in person. And so they started out the night with a spotlight match. Mm-hmm. Usually we call them preliminary matches, but they call it a spotlight match. And that was Fancy Ryan Clancy, who's been around at Wrestling Open for a little while now.
True.
And he was working with Scrapper James Stone. And this was a pretty decent match. I mean,
Yes.
it was what it was. It was a
warm-up.
a warm-up match, somebody getting his feet wet in the ring, I guess, and he both did a good job. Ryan Clancy's been impressing me for a little while now, and with Wrestling Open and Beyond and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really good match. All right, got nothing bad to say about it. Then there was a little bit of a break, and we got the countdown, and we were live on TV, and first match was
Wow.
we started off with Alec Price versus Channing Thomas with Sidney Bacabella, which that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Whew, boy. But this match,
Wow.
Anissa got her wrestling open baptism by fire. She caught a tope suicida right out of the gate. It came right at her. She had Alec Price almost in her lap. The phone got dropped. Works okay. But those are the chances you take sitting front row at any wrestling show, at an independent wrestling show.
That's what I get for looking at my phone and putting names in.
When we take notes, sometimes the notebook goes flying.
He takes the pictures, I take the notes.
We take our chances. And chances got taken.
Well, luckily you were looking out for me.
I did my best. Kind of hard to catch 200-pound guys coming flying at you. But
especially one of them, when one of them is only made of caffeine and rage.
Yes. Man, Alec Price just...
He impresses me more and more each time because I don't know why he's still on the independents. I really don't, because...
He shouldn't be.
This kid is beyond talented.
Yes. And Channing Thomas, we've seen him almost from the beginning, too.
I don't like him.
You're not supposed to.
Well, then he's doing his job.
That's right.
And he does it really well.
And he has a manager that does an even better job. And that's Sidney Bacabella. That guy is instant heat from the word get-go. He comes out and they start booing him. But, I mean, we remember Channing Thomas when he was a frat boy at PvP a couple of times. And then, his character has grown and grown over the...
He's evolved.
Yeah, he's evolved a little bit. Now he's world class, Channing Thomas. There are some people in the crowd that think that he has a different name. But, world ass Channing Thomas. But
to each their own.
But damn, if this match didn't fire you up, excuse me.
Well, maybe the kid next to us who was sleeping. Bless him.
Not through that match, though.
Yeah.
Not through that match.
That match. Talk about starting off high.
Yes. Yeah. You start off like that, and the night is set at a high level. And it pretty much carried on. And this one, unfortunately, it came to a time limit draw. That's one thing that Wrestling Open does, is every match is 10 minutes, except for their main events, and the main event is 20 minutes. And the referee was not giving
budging.
In.
Yeah.
And, the powers that be were like, no. But that tells me that there may be a rematch in the future. These guys have been butting heads for a little while now here, so it's...
Sydney was saying, that Alex couldn't...
Yeah.
If
Alec couldn't beat Channing, but Channing couldn't beat Alec either, it's like, what's going on here? So... Yeah. So I think we're going to have another match on that one. And
I hope so.
I can't wait to see it. I would love to see it live, but I'll watch it on IWTV.
Yeah, we'll watch it however we can get it.
But man, what a match.
I mean, I felt bad for everybody who had to come after.
Yeah, that was one of those, go ahead, follow that.
Yeah, good luck. Because that was a match that was incredible.
And then our next match after that was Arjun Singh versus CPA. If look, we've gone to Blitzkrieg, so we get to know who CPA is. You get to see him, and then you watch him on Open, and man, this kid, he's something else. I like CPA. He's fun to watch, but he can really, he can make it work too. He's fun to watch. He's funny to watch, but he can wrestle too.
And Arjun Singh was very talented.
Yeah,
I was
solid.
Impressed. I mean, first time I got to see him, and he held his own.
Yes,
and it was an entertaining match.
It really was. It was a good match, and CPA got the win on that one
after losing a few shirts and ties.
I think he was down to his third shirt and third tie. Arjun was disappointed to find out one of them was a clip-on. It was, again, if you see any of CPA's stuff, you know what you're gonna get with him. From his entrance to his ring announcements, his weight is withheld because taxes. I don't know. I just like everything about CPA. He's fun, and
you've been a fan,
and he's a good dude too. So. And like I said, he got the win on that, and then we were followed by a tag team match, and that was another couple of new people to us, and that was Better Together, which is Horowitz, and Ori Gold. And I'm reading these because I want to make sure I get them. They were from
Tel
Aviv, Israel. And man, are these guys super talented.
And
they,
fun.
They were facing the Miracle Generation. So you're going to get some high-flying matches out of it. And that's Flash Waller and Kylon King. And this is Flash's first match back at Open from his injury. And we're glad to see him back and healthy. And he was 100% because he was flip-flopping, flying like he does, and so was Kylon.
Man, Kylon just
he brings personality. That kid is just like, he's got that charisma.
Yeah,
he
has it.
He lights up a room with that smile he's got, and
he's also very sweet.
But these other two guys, they were an interesting team. They have their faces plastered all over their gear,
and one of them seemed a bit more excited about being together.
Yes.
Than the other.
Yeah, there was a little friction between these two guys. I would like to see more of these two guys. I don't. If it's Wrestling Open that brings them back, come on, bring them back. But they were a lot of fun to watch.
They were.
And I would really like to see them go again. And that one, the Miracle Generation, kind of brought that one out. Not really a surprise on that one, but it was a competitive match. It really was. It was back and forth.
Could have gone either way.
I could have seen the other guys winning it, but the Miracle Generation, they're on a tear right now.
Well, they're hungry.
Yeah, they're young. They're super young. They're ready to go, and so they took the win on that one. And then we had a very interesting match, and that was another new guy, Hot Stepper McCrae. Again, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read these names. I want to make sure I get them right, and it's McCrae. McCrae Martin versus Desmond Cole, Big Boofa. And
this was a fun match. It started out as a dance-off. You had two guys that have like a dancing character to them. And it started off, the crowd was chanting for a dance-off, and everybody started. The crowd was dancing to both.
Yeah,
their entrance music.
Like somewhat similar styles, but oh man, was it a lot of fun. They both went down into the splits, and you got a holy split chant going instead of holy shit. It was great. That lasted for a little bit, and post event really got one of McCrae, got him excited about that. He was really McCrae, yeah, he was really into that holy split chant that happened. It was because it was all organic. It was nothing that was at all planned.
No,
it was great. It was, but then the wrestling happened, and what a wrestling match it was. It was really good. They're super talented,
but they both enjoyed what they were doing, and there was a lot of respect for each other.
Desmond Cole, I've seen a little bit of his stuff in a couple of different places. Seeing him live last night, I was really impressed with what I saw, and then getting to meet him later on post event,
He a really nice guy, really humble kid. His salesman, on the other hand, maybe not so much. But I was kind of bullied into buying an 8x10.
Hey, but we don't have a problem with that. We support our local wrestlers.
It was worth doing. And Big Boofa took out the W on that one. But that's another one of those. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I didn't have a bet on one or the other. I didn't know how it was going to go.
No.
It was one of those both these guys. It was a really good match. And then you want to talk about some heat. Holy mackerel. First, this newcomer to us again, Big Boy Benito. More of a high flyer type of look guy. He's almost looks like a cruiserweight. He's a smaller guy. He's not really jacked or anything like that.
But there's no fat on him, that's for sure.
This kid was
all
man.
Muscle. Yeah.
But and again, really nice little young guy. But then his opponent come out, and that was Steven Stetson.
Ugh.
The crowd was so against this guy.
I thought the fire alarms were going to go off because they were so hot.
Oh my God, it was
heat
crazy.
He brings,
and he didn't really do anything.
He just walked out.
He walked out, and I need to find out what his song was because I really liked his entrance song. And I'm aware of him as, you know, he used to be as a different character, and I will say that he was part of the Filthy Family with Dirtbag Dan and.
But he's evolved.
But he's evolved his character, and now he's the cowboy from New Jersey. Which okay, but anyway, and and Steve Stetson. I mean, he can go. He's tightened up his look. But man, is he underhanded, and the crowd just hates him. But it was a really good match. For contrasting styles, he was really, really good. It was a really good match.
But I was getting worried that maybe he needed some sort of security escort out of the ring. I mean, just
one of my favorite things to do, and I've seen it on watching Wrestling Open on TV. But then they do the chant where it's like a cheerleader thing where they give me an S, and they spell out his name. Give me an S, give me a T, and they finish it. And what's that spell? And they it spells asshole. And I popped hard for that. I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was great. And then Steven Stetson gets the win on it, and.
Oof, again.
And the crowd just blew up again. And then he does this little shuffle that he did at the end. I'm like, what is this? It was, oh man. This night was just so much fun. It really was. And then we had another tag team match, which was Locked and Loaded, which is 50 Cal. And Dan Barry, which Dan Barry's one of our favorite guys.
Yes.
50 Cal, I like 50 Cal. Somebody else is not so much, but
I'm not an 80s fan.
But that's Locked and Loaded versus our boys, the Shook Crew.
Oh, yes.
And that's Bobby Orlando and Bryce Donovan with Bobby Jr.
Aww.
But tonight, or this night, it was Bobby Orlando as Bryce Donovan, and Bryce Donovan as Bobby Orlando. And man, you can tell that they ride together. They know each other very well because it was Halloween themed. I should have prefaced this whole thing by that, but it was kind of Halloween themed, and that was their deal. Was they were dressed up as each other. They did each other's moves down to every their special moves and everything. It was great. But
and the crowd was there for it.
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, as soon as they came out, it was like, oh, and Bryce Donovan holds a special place in both our hearts, whether it's with smiles or tears. And he was let know, and we'll just say that. But the match was great.
It really was. Yeah.
To be fair, it could have gone either way. Mm-hmm. And and this is we talked about this when you picked Dan Barry as your performer of an evening for Blitzkrieg a couple months ago. Was you don't realize how great of a wrestler he is.
He's so versatile.
That, he's doing his shtick, his silliness, but then all of a sudden he's wrestling his ass off. And he's not the youngest guy in the ring. But man, that guy can go. And he's super humble. He's a really nice guy. And he remembers people from, 2 months ago. You know how many people he sees, and he'll remember you, and he's like, "Hey, thanks for coming." And one of these times I gotta get myself to get some Dan Barry merch.
Yes,
I want to. It's just I was bullied into buying somebody else's merch. So the Shook Crew took that one, and I think the heat that Steve Stetson got would have carried over into this match if the Shook Crew didn't win.
Right, yes.
Because the Wrestling Open crowd was all about the Shook Crew. And we're right there with them. So the Shook Crew got the win on that, and that was great.
It was good. I really enjoyed that match.
Then we had a women's match, and that was Tina San Antonio, who I believe has been on Dark a couple of times.
Oh yeah.
I do know the name. I believe I've seen her on Dark, AEW Dark, and then she was facing Big Money Layla Luciano. I hope I said that right. Wow. She the Tina San Antonio, again, I know I've seen her before, so I was, I kind of knew what to expect. This other girl was new to us. Wow, could she go? And super tall, powerful, and there was a Cesaro swing in there,
right?
And
to a count of 20.
A 20 count, and she did that to Tina San Antonio, but Tina San Antonio, being the veteran that she is, was able to get a roll up in there and eke out a win, and
that was a surprise.
It was a surprise because everything was, well, not everything, but some of the things were going Layla's way, and I thought, this girl's gonna take it, and she snuck it out and she won.
But I think the work that Tina did on her knee,
she's paying for it,
right? And with legs like that, that if you take one of them out, it doesn't take much to take her down.
Yeah.
So
I would like to see both of them again somewhere. I really would. And they're from down in New York. One was billed from the 5 boroughs. I don't know how you can be from all 5 of them, but
easily.
If she wants to be, she can be. And then, she's not a woman you want to cross. And
Layla was billed as just New York City.
New York City, so she's down in that area somewhere. So it was. They showed their New York toughness, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see somebody bring them back up to New England again. Anybody, any of the ones that we go to, preferably the ones that we go to.
Well, even if we watch them on TV, that's welcome too.
And then we had another, and before I get into the next match, one thing about Wrestling Open, I think mainly because they're on IWTV live, is they don't do an intermission. They just go. All their matches are one right after each other. They don't stop. And then you do your meet and greet stuff after the cameras are off, and which is it's an interesting way for them to do it, and it
works.
Yeah, it works for them, but so it was like nonstop action. I mean, there was 30 seconds in between each match, and that was it. So the next one was the main event: Jay Lyon and Midas.
As main, as in MANE.
This is true.
Not this is the main event of the entire.
Right. Yes. That's the team name is Main Event, and Ray Lyon is a masked wrestler
who looks like a lion.
Who looks like a lion. Imagine that. And then his partner is Midas Scott, who is the ringleader. They're in most places good guys, fan favorites. Not at Wrestling Open because they turned on the fans a few weeks back, and
they hold on to it.
And the fans have not forgotten.
Right.
It was hard for me to boo them because I usually cheer them in places, and it was something. And they were facing the Haven, who. Our favorite guys. These two guys are, they hang with the Miracle Generation collectively. All four guys are known as Miracle Generation, but then you have the team, the Miracle Generation. Then you have the Haven, and the Haven are just, oh my God, I love these two guys. Jay Onyx and Sean Knight. I knew that, and because I was reading a note, I lost my place.
I'm sorry.
And that's my fault. So, again, with the Haven, just like with the Miracle Generation, you know what you're getting. These guys are gonna be up in the air more than an airplane. They're gonna be all over the place, but they're excitement personified. They really are.
They really are.
I like these guys. I like their style. I usually like the Main Event as well, but they were pulling out all the underhanded tactics.
He was pulling them out of his hat.
Yeah. The fans had a lot of fun with the Main Event in their chants and ways they were booing them and that kind of stuff. That
was one thing that I have to say. The fans were consistent. There wasn't a lull. They were all present. They were. I didn't feel like anybody went to church.
Yeah, no, there was no sitting on hands.
No,
not at all. Everybody was into everything. And another thing I want to point out about Wrestling Open is that they do something. They're a sister promotion of Beyond Wrestling, so they kind of do the same thing, which is most of it is standing ringside. They stand like 3-4 deep around the ring on 3 sides. And then on the camera side, there's some seats, which we took advantage of the seats. So that, because some of us aren't able to stand that long, and in order to get some of the footage that I get, I don't want to be standing. I want to be able to sit down and do what I do. And I'm not that young anymore. I'll let them stand up. I'll sit down.
Yeah, Worcester is a college town, so.
But so it's a unique look and way of going to the wrestling show. So they don't have a lot of seats, but they have a lot of fans, and so it gives off a different energy, gives off a different vibe because the fans are pounding on the ring during the matches and stuff, and it gets interactive.
Really feed off of that too.
Yeah, think of when you were watching Pandemic Wrestling, and there was no fans. This is the exact opposite. Because the fans are right there. They're in their faces, and sometimes right in their faces. Now, this tag match that we're talking about, yes, the Main Event got the win, but they didn't get the win. They stole the win.
Shenanigans.
There were feet on ropes, and the ref didn't catch it.
And there was also a lion attached to the leg of one Mr. J. Onyx.
Yeah, to
keep him from getting in the ring to break up the pin.
Yeah, to knock his feet off the ropes.
There was a lot of shenanigans that happened, and I hope that the powers that be at Wrestling Open take a look at footage that will be made available to them.
And give the Haven another.
Let's do this right. Make it a no DQ. Make it a no DQ, and then they can't. There's no reason to cheat. I don't know. Something needs to be done because it was done. They were done dirty. The Haven were done dirty, and it needs to be rectified. That brings us to the actual main event of the night. So this match all those matches were 10-minute. Were to a 10-minute time limit. This one here was the main event. That brings it to a 20-minute time limit, and they went right up to, I believe, 17 minutes or something like that.
It was pretty close.
It was pretty close to the 20-minute mark. And the first team was Big Bacon Brad Hollister. And there it is. And his partner, the dime piece, Aaron Rorke.
Yay.
No, that's a boo as well. Versus Ichiban, number one. And his partner, who was a guest star of the night to Wrestling Open, and that was AEW's own Evil Uno, joined the Dark Order. And, man,
what a great match.
This was there's a bit of a story to this that Big Bacon Brad Hollister has been calling Ichiban a bully for weeks now within Wrestling Open.
He's so gentle and kind.
There was an eye poke or something like that turned Big Bacon Brad Hollister into a pirate at one point, and he had a patch over his eye. So this was actually originally it was going to be just Ichiban versus Bacon, but plans changed and it turned
subject to change.
That's right, and they each got tag team partners, and Bacon picked a partner that's pretty devious in his own right, and that's Aaron Rorke. This kid is, man, is he talented.
He is.
We've seen him from pretty early on, about 4 or 5 years ago now, where we first time saw him and seen him evolve. And this is a guy that is actually ever evolving. He is not changing his character, but it's growing, like, after time after time after time. It's something new.
And boy, does he hold a grudge against Bryce Donovan. He actually paused, took time out of the match to go up to him at the
commentary booth
and just lay into him. Whoo, boy.
He punched him right in the face. And so there was that moment towards the end of the match there. But man, and then Ichiban, we love Ichiban, number one.
I mean, what's not to love? The fella can wrestle his little heart out.
And he came out with his usual mask, which was it was pink in color, and it had the regular. It looked like one of his regular masks, but it looked loose, and that's not like Ichiban. And he's always pretty tight with his masks and everything. So I was a little skeptical of what was going on, and then all of a sudden he ripped it off when he was introduced, and his new mask was Dark Order in design
and color.
That's what I mean with the design and the color. It was looked like it was Dark Order, but it was still Ichiban style. But man, then Evil Uno got introduced,
and the place went nuts. Mm-hmm. You know, the big name is out here, but man, I was impressed. You know, I like the guy. We've seen him on AEW a lot. We've also seen him on, you know, different vlogs and toy hunts and stuff with Ethan Page and Danhausen and the Bunny and all those, you know, cats from AEW. Didn't really know who Evil Uno was before AEW. Got to see him last night. Impressed with his wrestling stuff. You know, he does, you know, some little comedy spots here and there or whatever, but
then when it's time, he shifts gears.
He seriouses up quick, and he brought the fight. And
boy, did Aaron find that out the hard way.
Yeah, he did. At one point, Ichiban and Big Bacon spilled to the back and were never to be seen or heard from again. And it boiled down to Evil Uno and Aaron Rorke, and holy mackerel, these two guys, they just went back and forth and back and forth, and then
ouch.
And then
ouch.
It was something. It was, I was very impressed. I liked getting to see Evil Uno perform.
Well, it's really nice when they bring in a name that you see on television, and sometimes
they live up to your expectations or exceed.
Well, no. What I mean is sometimes they come in and they kind of phone it in.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason,
tip their hat, wave their hands, and that's it.
Right, but he came in and he gave it his all. Yeah. I didn't see him just, I'm here to wrestle. Whatever.
I mean, he carried the last half of that match because his partner had spilled to the back somewhere.
Well, because for the majority of time he had Aaron Rorke on his back.
Yeah. So Evil Uno and Ichiban, what they were calling themselves, the evil ones.
And they're so far from that.
Yeah. There may or may not have been some biting within the match. There was maybe some shenanigans, but it didn't play into the outcome of the match.
Well, I mean, to be fair, when someone bites you, you bite them back. That just happens.
That's what you're taught.
Yes. And
he did.
Aaron Rorke, I might think, has learned you don't bite Evil Uno anymore.
I don't know that he learned it. He found out you shouldn't, but I don't know that he learned it.
Well, he's probably learned not to do it again.
So the evil ones pulled out the W on that one. But man, what a match.
I mean, it was the whole night was bookended by the first match, which was on fire, and then you get the last one, which you're just as much on fire, but in different ways.
Yeah.
And it was a great sandwich.
Yeah, it was, and
it was very filling.
And the middles were just as, entertaining.
Enjoyable,
and there was some fire in some of those matches as well. But man, were we impressed with that, the whole night, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So now that brings us to our favorite parts of our episodes, and that's Performer of the Night.
I'm going to go with Bobby Orlando because this was his 5-year anniversary.
Yep.
And so this is my way of giving him a little applause for bravo, 5 years. I mean,
it's big.
It's a hard business to be part of.
Yep.
Because you have injuries. You're not paid a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you have to pay your dues, and he stuck with it for 5 years, and bravo to him.
Yep. Mine. I've been thinking on this one, and every time, the longer I think about it, the more I change my mind. But I'm gonna go. It's right at the beginning, and that's gonna be Alec Price. That kid
he's amazing.
I've been impressed with him since the first time I saw him, and I've seen him in multiple places. I've seen him at Test of Strength. I've seen him at Blitzkrieg. I've seen him now at Wrestling Open.
Right.
I've watched him in other places, on TV, be it Limitless or Beyond. So, yeah, no, he's my performer of the night is Alec Price.
He's incredible.
He's undeniable right now. He really is. So now, performer of the night out of the way. Match of the night.
I mean, how can you not give it to Alec Price and Channing Thomas?
Yep.
That match was so incredible. It set the tone for the entire night. And if we had paid money and they said, okay, this is the only match you're going to see, it's well worth it. Admission, yeah.
I know I've said in the past, I want to try and choose a different one than you, and no, I can't. That was the match. I mean, the main event was great, but it had the star power and everything else. But that first match set the tone for the whole night, and boy, did they! They didn't go into high gear. They threw it into high gear, literally into your lap right off the bat.
Yeah, I could have done without that, but
holy mackerel, that's how they started. There was no, collar and elbow. It was a tope right off the ripper, and bam.
Well, when you are the child of caffeine and rage, how else do you function? I mean, just
it's nonstop action.
Yeah,
He's
Alec Price
nonstop.
It's palpable. When he walks by you, you can feel that energy just surging off of him.
He doesn't stop. He's slamming himself around. I mean, he beats himself up before the match more than his opponent does during the match. He just goes and goes and goes, and he's super, super talented, and so is Channing Thomas. Channing Thomas you can't. It takes
even
two.
Even though we're booing him, we have to acknowledge. Yes, but what I'm saying is you have to acknowledge the talent that he brings.
Yeah.
Alec Price wasn't doing this by himself. You can't have a match of the night if it's only one person.
And you also have that third. You have Sidney Bacabella where he's doing his part, and thankfully in this match there wasn't a whole lot of interference with it.
Was there any?
I don't
think there was.
I think there was an attempt, but it never happened. But
it wasn't. He didn't need to because
he didn't need it.
Channing Thomas was holding his own.
Yeah.
But not only that, Alec Price was
aware.
Not just that, but the frenetic energy that he has that just moves them around the ring. How do you interfere with that? You can't, because there's no room for that.
But what was also good was he wasn't a distraction to, he did his part when he walked out and they said their piece and
when
else.
They left, exactly.
But he didn't, on the exit he did, his little mouthpiece, but other than that, he didn't get involved, but he was a presence and you knew that he was there and you waited. All right, what's he going to do to screw Alec out of this? And it didn't happen. The time is what screwed them out. The clock screwed it up.
And even if they had gone 20 minutes, would the outcome been different?
I don't think so. They would have used the clock up on 20 minutes because it just takes so much to beat them both down.
Right, exactly. And that's where you might have found shenanigans coming into play. But that's just guesswork on our part.
Yeah, you don't know. But, man, it was such a good match. And that was our night. And I think, this was the first time for us at Wrestling Open. our other reviews have been on places that we've gone to before. What are your thoughts on Wrestling Open as a whole?
As a whole, I like to purchase my tickets beforehand and know that I'm going to have a seat.
Yeah.
Especially with my issues, if you will. It's I have anxiety anyways, so not knowing if I'm going to get a seat, that was a bit of a drawback, but once I was settled in and there, if you took the beginning away, I would 100%, I mean, even with that, I would still go again.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the show. The extra, the external, whatever it was, it's behind us. And the crowd, the setting, the show, the way it's run, I enjoyed it.
I agree. I mean, we're accustomed to buying our tickets ahead of time.
We're privileged.
No, it's not even that it's privileged. We're used to places where you buy your tickets ahead of time. Multiple places. They do it different, and you know what? It works for them. And we were able to get seat right up front, which is what we prefer. And like you said,
thank you to everybody who told us, "Hey, get there early."
Yeah, I mean, I reached out to a couple of different people. Hey, what's the best way to make sure that I can get a seat? What's how does it work there? And that's why we're telling people, this is how it works. You want to get a seat, make sure you get there early. And be ready to, unless you don't want to sit. If you want to stand, it's first come, first serve. You want to be at ringside, well, again, be there early, because and don't move, because you'll lose your spot.
There were people that were lined up. We got there and we were in line for what, an hour?
An hour, yeah.
An hour plus. There were people who were probably there for at least 2.
Yeah.
So.
And they were regulars.
Right.
And that's why they know to be there that early.
There was a girl who sat there. She had a book.
Yeah. So after that, after getting in, I really enjoyed this show. Obviously, we told everybody, through this review, that we enjoyed the matches. The show was really well done. The referees were on point. And ring announcer, what was I looking forward to seeing Palladino? Of course. I wanted to see him in his element. He did a guest spot at a PvP show, and it was great to actually get to see him do something, live and in person. But Sam LaTurna, she did an excellent job, and they're working to TV. A lot of the places we go to, they're just working for the crowd. These guys, they go live for IWTV, once a week, and so it's a little bit different production, and I think they put on an excellent show. It definitely still that indie wrestling feel where it's intimate. You got the wrestlers right there. You don't have
barriers.
Even some barriers are okay, but there's none there, and you have that chance of them landing in your lap.
When they say Wrestling Open,
it's open. But they have a commentary team, and some of the other places we go have commentary and whatnot. But they do top notch.
Very different vibe,
and it's pretty well polished. It's not gritty. It's not dark. But fun. A lot of fun. And one of the things I really like is how they do the meet and greet stuff or the merch buying stuff at the end. And you just work your way down the table alley and, meet and greet who you want, buy from who you want. Shout outs to The Haven. We picked up 8x10 from them. Big Boofa, we picked up, that's the one I was bullied into buying. And our boys, the Shook Crew, picked one up from them. And then big shout outs to Evil Uno, who took like 10 minutes with us, just chit chatting and being a really nice guy. When he could have, look, guys, I got to go to the back. It was nice to meet you. No, he took time with us. I got in a pro wrestling crate a while back. I got a Dark Order mask, and he was nice enough to autograph it for me. So, thanks to Wrestling Open for having him come out, and thanks to him for his time. He spent extra amount of time with us, and it doesn't go unnoticed. It's greatly appreciated, and
it really was.
And
just a genuinely nice man.
He was, when they say that Canadians are just overly nice, well, he was overly nice.
He proved it.
he was a really nice guy. So that was Wrestling Open in Worcester at the White Eagle. If you want to see a fun show and you're free on a Thursday night, spend your $10. That's it. It's $10 to get in there, and it's well worth it.
Well worth it.
Well worth it. You get your money's worth, and then some. You're I don't want to say it too loud, but you're underpaying. They could easily charge $20 and get that same crowd in there,
right.
And it'd be still well worth it. So we enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed our review of it. Get this piece together and put out. We build them up. We don't tear them down. And we don't really have anything bad to say about anybody that was there last night. It was pretty decent show. On a personal level, we don't.
Boo, bacon.
He knows. So, like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell so you get notification of anytime I'm putting out anything. And if you are subscribed and you are watching any of our stuff, thank you. I truly, truly appreciate it. All of our subscribers that we got now, I'm shocked that we have what we have, and I'm shocked at some of the amounts of views that I'm getting on some of these videos, and it's not going unnoticed. It's not going. It's. I don't even know what words to say, other than thank you. Thank you to everybody and anybody who watches this stuff. I truly appreciate it. So this has been Anissa and Eric Hunting from Parts Unknown with our review and breakdown of Wrestling Open. Thank you, and we'll see you at the matches.